we know that we want to find the influencers. So how do we do that? How do we recruit the influencers? Well, what we can do is we can find, the first thing that we have to do is recruiting the influencers, then we motivate those influencers, and then we keep the influencers. So let's look at basically a strategy. How do you find the influencers? Okay? Basically, one of the strategies is starting with listening online about what people are saying about your product and to get an unfiltered insight. Now, consumer-generated monitoring basically is the way that marketers online are doing this. What does that mean? Well, there are services out there, there are tools out there where you can monitor blogs. Blogs are the interactive way that people are now talking about information online. So if you have a tool that can actually identify and listen to the conversations, then this basically helps you to identify those people that are talking about your product or service, or products and service in your industry. Doesn't necessarily have to be you yet. News alerts are another way that you can actually ping information to your either email or on the blogosphere that you keep a record of anything that's in the news media that's related to your product or service, or again, your industry. Online discussion forums, another terrific way to find out what people are saying. Some of the listening services that are out there, Symphony, Nielsen BuzzMetrics, Umbria, and BuzzLogic and IntelliSeek are types of services. All of these services charge a particular fee for their services. BuzzLogic in particular uses what we call natural language patterns. They scan blogs for natural language. They can follow even attitudes, positive, negative attitudes within a blog. And basically, they can index and archive and slice and dice this data in a lot of different ways so that you can then use that data. And basically, another very important way to find out, who's talking about you is your customer service department. Let them find out how people are talking about your products. Some other strategies is to encourage communication. You develop tools to make telling and sharing with friends, family easy to execute. Sometimes that could mean just simply putting a button on your site saying send to a friend, or some way that you can send emails out to all the influencers that you know. So you give them some tools that can help them spread that message online. Another very, very important piece of this whole strategy is, of course, give them something to talk about. A good product, good service, excellent customer service. You have to have a good deal to start with. I believe that before Christmas this year, on the day that the stores were, I guess it was Black Friday after the Thanksgiving holiday, people were saying that that's the first biggest shopping day after Christmas, and they had some unbelievable deals. I think one deal was in Best Buy. So Best Buy had a deal where you could buy a computer, I think, for $300 or something, and people were lining up the night before. How did that get so popular? Well, it was by the buzz. One person obviously got to know that deal was going down, and people were lining up at 12. It opened 12 midnight, and people knew that deal, and they all lined up to get that deal. So it was such an unbelievable, for $300. I mean, the first like 100 people or something got a computer for $300. Such an unbelievable deal. That same thing happened. Southwest Airlines, I believe, had a deal where they had a $59 fare anywhere in the world. And it was only from one airport to start with, but it was such an unbelievable deal that they made $1 billion on that one deal because they opened it up to every state. It just became so incredible. So if you have something that's absolutely unbelievable, obviously that's going to create a lot of buzz, and that happens with this kind of marketing as well. The other thing is that you want to target authoritative influencers and their communities, so that there are bloggers, there are people in certain industries that have a lot more clout than anyone else. You want to basically target these people to start endorsing your product. It's almost like the effect of having a celebrity endorse a product. When so-and-so celebrity endorses a product, they always feel, well, everybody has to have it because if they have it, then it must be good. So you want to get to those influencers. And then basically, the conversations, what we say transparent is online today, people hate the idea that you are paying them to say something good about you. So what you have to be very careful about is that you have to be part of the community, and it has to come out naturally that you really endorse the product or service or whatever, that you're not being paid to do it. The word transparency comes up a lot on the internet because it has to be traced back to a true value or something that you're really doing without somebody paying you off to do it. So that's kind of important. The other thing about word-of-mouth marketing online is you can combine it with offline and put that product in the hands of bloggers or influencers so that they can then start talking about how they are reacting to that product, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, but start the buzz that way with an offline offer. Basically, today, a lot of people are confusing word-of-mouth marketing with social media marketing. So this little table helps us to see what basically the difference is between word-of-mouth marketing and what we call social media marketing. For those of you that like little mnemonics, WOMM is word-of-mouth marketing and SMM is social media marketing. So word-of-mouth marketing typically has higher value, more targeted, and typically a better return on investment when you're marketing. Social media marketing, basically, as an overall, you get a big spike, maybe a peak, but then you usually don't get a very good return on your investment. A lot of people talk about it, but they don't follow through and actually go and buy the product or continue the service. So, you know, basically word-of-mouth marketing, it's basically primarily influencers. It happens on and offline. It generates brand awareness and sustained web traffic, and it encourages customers for long-term through the product life cycle. Whereas social media spreads by itself through social web and relies on passing messages from person to person. Generally, the message needs to be outrageous. It has to be, you know, cool, entertaining. It has to be exceptional to attract the attention to be passed along. For example, if you have a particular very outrageous news event that happens on Dig, which is a new social media news site, to get on the page one, it has to be outrageous, and within 24 hours, it's either on page one or not, or it's totally gone. And the generation is it generates like a short spike of traffic during those 24 hours and then nothing after that. And it's online only, so the life of it is very short. But it can create a lot of links and it can create a lot of buzz if it's outrageous enough.